The better you get at your creative work or your craft, obviously the more you're going to do it. Or are you? I was watching a video on YouTube by Jake Frew, who is a young filmmaker. I mean, he's probably in his 20s, barely out of diapers, but he dropped some wisdom beyond his years. He was talking about the process of getting better at filmmaking, and he said, with every
improvement I made, I noticed myself hitting the record button less frequently.
I heard this and immediately I knew what he meant. And I think it applies to every kind of creative there is. As we improve, you would think we would become more efficient at doing the work, so we would do it more. And I'm not talking about your output, I'm talking about your process. And specifically, I'm talking about what you're willing to try within your process. It actually reminded me of when I started getting into espresso. I used to drink way too much coffee, just, drip coffee, normal coffee, nothing fancy. When I lived in Brooklyn, the coffee machine would switch on as soon as I woke up, and I would drink it pretty much all day. But when I got into espresso, it was like my taste buds changed, and suddenly the drip coffee wasn't good enough for me anymore. But figuring out how to recreate that espresso experience at home was a long process. It was also a lot of work by comparison. Add to that my migraine headaches. I simultaneously decided to reduce my caffeine intake, so I was having less coffee per day, but more of my time was going into making it. As I progressed, my espresso got better, but my expectations also grew. My idea of what good coffee tasted like narrowed. And then if I stopped to get coffee somewhere when I was out, I was constantly disappointed. I was a coffee snob. There, I said it. I remember being on tour and dragging the rest of the band across town for the best coffee at each stop on the tour, only to be underwhelmed most of the time. I finally decided to stop myself from being a total snob most of the time. And that's exactly what happens with our creative work. When we refine our taste and our technique, of course we're going to get better, but a side effect of that is feeling like fewer ideas are worth pursuing. The irony is that the better we get, the more likely we are to stifle our own creativity with second guessing and hesitation. And let's be honest, it's a form of snobbery. It's thinking we're too good for something instead of just going with it and seeing where it takes us. How else are we going to find out, right? The thing is, you don't have to use it. At a certain point, you have to be discerning and scrap an idea that isn't working. But I think what Jake is getting at is that creative people have a fear of wasted time. And so you don't take the shot, or write the sentence, or make the brushstroke, because it probably isn't that good. You don't want to waste time pursuing an idea when something better might just be right around the corner. The thing is, there is no such thing as wasted time when it comes to creativity. There are no wrong answers, just endless possibilities. So when you happen upon one of them, pull that thread, see where it leads. Maybe it will take you to a different idea that wouldn't have occurred to you otherwise. Because getting better at your craft doesn't need to mean setting limits on what you can try. So try that cafe. They might have a new approach you've never imagined, or at the very least, a muffin or something to tide you over. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, keep the flow.